Yo, what is good, you guys? Welcome to the video. For this video, we're going to be doing something a little different. I was requested in the comments of my ultimate guide for staff spear to fight a Greatsword user, so that is what we are doing. I am fighting one of the best Greatsword players that I know, Greatsword Dagger, Davood. He is running a magic range setup, and I am running a melee evasion setup. Both running evasion setups, however, we counter each other's main source of damage. So this is one of the highest level of gameplay that you guys could see as far as 1v1s go. Hopefully you guys liked the video. Peace and love. Bro, that was insane! Perfect! 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 Stun combo. Like, what the fuck, bruh? Like, I perfect him. He perfects me. He perfects me again. I perfect him. Stun combo. Like, what the fuck? Like, the second you do, you're just fucked. He's smoke clouding out of my skill now. He's evolving. I shouldn't be telling him shit. Motherfucker. Alright fam, I'm gonna go over in game very quickly the type of gear, mastery, skills that I'm using for this build. Alright, so let's go ahead and hop into the skills. So essentially what I settled on to be the best for 1v1s is using Cataclysm. Even though I really do like having the extra stun of Abyssal Cleave, I think Cataclysm has more potential in a 1v1 situation, but they can be interchanged, they can be swapped. Mostly Cataclysm because it stops your opponent from blocking, which means you can do pure DPS and they can't do anything, and usually they'll be still pressing block, usually wasting their time. And then Constructing Tempest, which lowers their hit chance, meaning they can't really DPS you while they also can't block. So if you use these in tandem, then you pretty much will get yourself a huge HP advantage if your opponent doesn't really know what you're doing. Gale Rush in for the attack speed on Explosive Fury. Make sure you get your Ember stacks for Javelin Inferno. You don't necessarily have to use Javelin Inferno right after Explosive Fury, but just having the stacks for when you want to use Javelin Inferno. Phoenix Barrage. Honestly, the best combo for this is Ice Spear into Phoenix Barrage. That way, you have the bind, which is conditional damage. I wish that I had enough skill points to use both Critical Aftermath and Explosive Fury, but the thing is, I noticed that Phoenix Barrage is harder to hit, so I usually go for the extra damage on Explosive Barrage. However, I will say that these points are somewhat interchangeable. That 50% crit damage bonus is huge, but also this 15% flat damage increase on Explosive Fury is huge as well. So these two skill points are somewhat interchangeable. I would say Explosive Fury is up more often than Phoenix Barrage, but you will hit harder if you get Critical Aftermath. So there are some pros and cons to changing those to skill specializations. But we definitely 100% want these slow on Javelin Inferno. We 100% need the Explosive Fury and the Inferno because this is what gives our Javelin Inferno the Ember stacks. And then obviously we're just stacking more Ignite with Javelin Inferno. Phoenix Barrage, same thing. So we're stacking more Ignite, a lot of burn damage, anti-heal. Cataclysm changes this to a Wrath attack. So basically if they do end up realizing that you're using Cataclysm and they block it, then you just stun them. You can 100% run Cataclysm without this. However, when you're fighting a high level opponent and they realize that you're using Cataclysm and they try and block it, I think Stunning Resolve is really good. If you take this off, I would go for Phoenix Barrage, but I think this is the highest level skill specialization. And then for our staff skills, we are literally 1v1ing, so we don't need any of the AoE spec on this. Focus Firebomb has AoE, so we still do have some AoE, and we get the bind on Ice Spear as well as the damage. And then for Victorious Energy, we're getting the extra evasion, which is huge for this build. So we're getting extra hit and extra evasion, which again is just huge. That way we land our combo. And the fact that we don't have Dagger passive, this extra evasion really helps us hit those thresholds. So let me go ahead and show you guys the, before I do that, let me actually show you the masteries. So currently I'm actually just running full DPS masteries on the spear, but what I will go into is the evasion and the endurance. So basically I'm just going to go middle row, top row. Now I think you could potentially stop here at the endurance and then you could go for the cooldown speed, but I also do like the movement speed and max health that you'll get here. Still deciding because I do like that extra hit, and then you get some movement speed here, and then you get cooldown speed, whereas the movement speed is nice, but I don't think it is BIS over cooldown speed. Still deciding, but I think middle row, top row is going to be the standard. But just know that the bottom three are also an alternative if you don't want to get these last three nodes. And then for staff, we are going for complete bottom row for the max damage dealt. And then we are going for the skill boost chance. So this is a pure DPS setup, as you can tell. But again, that's mostly because when I get the defensive passives on Spear, I'm likely going to be main-handing Spear. whereas I'm going to use the staff for mostly just damage. However, if you want, you can also go for the extra hit and extra evasion on the staff. I think it's better to do the two bottom rows on staff just for the extra damage, because um, it's better to have the defensive from spear, because spear gives you not just endurance but also evasion. Okay, so for the gear, for the melee evasion setup, we are running about 950 hit, 1700 melee evasion, 900 range evasion when we use victorious energy. Those thresholds are going a bit higher. I am using a bit of ranged endurance as well, from the passives and from a few pieces of gear. Um, However, I have not fully swapped over to ranged endurance. I'm still debating whether it's worth it or not, but with my Victorious Energy passive, I am hitting decent thresholds with range evasion, so I'm not too pressed on it right now. That's something I'm going to decide later. Yeah, 900, like I said, 900 hit, 1700 melee evasion. Those are the most important stats. About 500 endurance. Will be closer to 600 once I get that passive. Really good heavy attack, 268 heavy attack, 440 skill damage boost. Not getting much critical damage, but my buff duration is pretty nice. And then for the magic range set here, we are running about 1,000 hit, 1,017 melee hit, 991 magic hit, 1650 magic evasion, 1100 range evasion before victorious energy, about 13.4k HP. And then another things to note, we're still at 268 heavy attack, always going for the extra heavy attack on strength. And then not to mention, we do have that heavy attack buff from spear. Skill damage boost for 40, huge. Crit damage boost 14%. Another thing to note, I am getting a decent amount of attack speed. It does scale as we apply more debuffs to our target. Another thing to note. Yeah, one thing that you can do is swap out the bracers of Primal King for Ancient Sourdoma bracers in both of these setups if you want more range evasion. It is a really good alternative to use. But I typically just want the extra perception so that I could have a little bit of extra hit. It really just depends on who you're going up against. If you're going against more ranged targets, obviously you're probably going to want to use the Sourdoma. But always going 50-60 and then trying to hit that 50 threshold, and 50-50 again, trying to hit that 50 threshold. We have a bit less stats on our melee setup, but still does really well. Yeah, those are my skills. That is my masteries. That is my gear. You've seen everything. Let me know what you guys think of the 1v1 setup in the comment section below. Peace and love, you guys.